Alright, yo, what's up guys? It's me, Shadow. Real quick before this video starts, I'm going to put the drum kits and VSTs that I used up on the screen. You guys can feel free to pause the video and take a look. I don't really have too much to say in this intro, guys, besides one thing that I forgot to say in the actual video, which is shout out to the producer of the original 556 beat. I believe his name is pronounced Kelly Where You At. I'm not 100% sure, but shout out to you. Very fire producer. That's all I got to say. Before we get into this video, I'm going to plug my Instagram. That's where I'm most active on social media. I'm going to plug all my type beat channels, and then I'm going to plug my BeatStars. That is where I post sound kits and beats. I have a bunch of kits perfect for producers in this scene, guys. I also offer free demos for almost all of them. Link down in the description. Go check them out. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Have a good day or night. Peace. Alright, yo, what's up guys? It's me, Shadow, back again with another tutorial video. This week, we're going to be going over how to make a goofy-ass Jace type beat. I'm not going to lie, I really did not expect to be making this video, like at all. I already have one Jace tutorial out already, and I was really not planning on making one based on these, like, goofy beats, you know, where it's, like, trumpets and oboes and weird, funny, like, cartoon sounding melodies and stuff like that. However, it is just undeniably taking over the underground. This sound is gaining a ton of popularity, and I have a feeling that, you know, a couple months down the line, this is going to be like a future genre, you know, created, a subgenre created within the underground where everyone's just going to be trying to hop on these beats. Because I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a little gimmicky at first, but as I kept listening to them, I actually really enjoyed the beats. So, yeah, you know, here we are making this video. Today, we're going to be going over how to make a Knights at the Round Table type beat. We're doing it. Starting off, guys, we're going to set the BPM to 155. I'd say anywhere from like 130 to 160 is the range that you want to go. Typically, the BPM is in like the 140 range, but you can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can kind of do whatever you want because this genre is super new and it's super fun to make. So, you know, kind of just do what you feel like with BPM. These are the drums that I ended up using for this beat. Pretty simple drums, a lot of 808s, which is not 100% necessary. I recommend just using like 2. I think you should definitely not use any less than 2, but you know, more than 2 is kind of pushing it. It's up to you guys. The VST that we're going to be using for this video, guys, is Purity. If you don't have Purity, a good cheaper alternative is Expand 2. It's like only $15, and you know, Purity is like $70, so it's obviously the more expensive option. However, this is the exact plugin that is used for 556 and like all the Jace type beats, the 556 type beats, stuff like that. And the reason for that is because you're going to find very like cartoony, almost like gimmicky sounding like brass instruments like trumpets, oboes, you know, the Pisticato Strings, which is obviously not a brass instrument, it's a string instrument. But you know, all of these super like orchestral, like cartoony instruments are going to be found within Purity. So that's what we're going to be using today. First sound we have, guys, is the Pisticato Strings. This is what they're going to sound like. Then, guys, we have the trumpet, which is going to sound like this. Then lastly, guys, we have the oboe, which is going to sound like this. Now, you don't really need to use a whole lot of sounds for these type beats, but I do recommend using like 2 to 3 like very different sounding instruments. The oboe and trumpet sound very similar, whereas the Pisticato Strings are just a completely different instrument. You know, it has a totally different tone, totally different vibe that it brings to the beat. So I'd say use at least like 1 string and then 1 like brass instrument, and then you could throw some other things in there like flutes and pianos and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say the main like 4 instruments you want to go for is like a stringed instrument, a trumpet, an oboe, and then a piano. Like I said, you can throw other stuff in there, but those are the main instruments you're going to want to be using for these beats. And now that we have that out of the way, guys, we can hop right into this beat, starting off with the melody. First thing I laid out, guys, was this pizzicato string, and it's going to sound like this. Basically, all I did for this, guys, was make a very simple pattern out of 2 notes. These were the notes I used, an E and an F, and then from there, I basically made a 5th chord, or like, I think like the start of a 5th chord. As you can see, the notes are 4 spaces apart, and basically, I think it would be a 5th chord if I threw in another note 6 spaces apart. However, I only used 2 notes stacked on top of each other, and you know, it creates that sort of like tension sound like this. Basically just these 2 chords over and over again, only 2 notes in each chord, and yeah, that's all I really gotta say there. Then, guys, we have the trumpet, which is gonna sound like this. As you can hear, this is where the goofy part comes in because, you know, out of context of the beat, you'd just be like, what is going on here? This sounds like something that you'd hear in like Looney Tunes when like a villain is like sneaking up on the main character or something like that, you know, just some really like some like goofy cartoon stuff. Like I've said like a million times in this video, I really like them. You know, I'm not gonna lie, the subgenre has really grown on me. The previous chord progression that we made consisted of the notes F, E, C, and B. So based off of that, I already knew that those notes would work. And then the only other notes that I added in was an A because I just used my ear. I'm not going to lie, I don't know music theory. And I just made a simple repetitive pattern that plays over and over again in the beat. And then I added this one last pattern, guys, that only plays like every 4 bars. It sounds like this. That's literally it. It's the oboe, and it just plays an A, E, and B, which again, like I already said, are notes that we already had in the original chord progression. Altogether, guys, this is what the melody that we made is going to sound like. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds a little weird on its own without the drums because, you know, it's like slightly off beat with the Pisticato strings. However, could this still be in Tom and Jerry? Absolutely. And that's it. Now that we have the melody out of the way, guys, we're gonna hop into the drums. Starting off, we have the clap. Don't need a lot of explaining there. After the clap, we're gonna add some hi-hats. Complex is definitely not the route to go for these kind of beats. Again, like I said already, this is a new subgenre, so if you want to be like the different person and try out your own stuff and do like super trap hi-hats, go ahead, be my guest. Clearly, I did not do that here. This is basically just a 2-step hi-hat pattern, and I've removed a lot of notes and replaced some of them with like rolls, which is super easy to do, and that is it. I keep talking like I have more to say, and then when I get to the end of the sentence, I'm just sitting here like in silence. This happens a lot. Like I edit out at least 30 of these instances during my recordings, guys. You have no idea. But yeah, those are the hi-hats. The last percussion sound that we have, guys, is the open hat, which sounds like this. That is going to conclude the percussion for this beat. Super simple. Like I said, you don't want to go crazy. Then, guys, we have the first 808 of many. This is what the first 808 is going to sound like. If you guys listen to 556, you'd recognize this pattern immediately. Basically, since I knew that E was the primary note in like all the melodies that we made, I just went with E as the starter note. I basically just went from an E6 to an E5, as you can see right here. For like the end half of the 808, I basically double click the 808 pattern and click this button right here. What that's going to do is make your 808 slide. You also want to make sure that you make the envelope for your 808s a square. That way, the second it stops playing in the piano roll, it will just cut itself immediately. Then, guys, we're going to stack a Z 808 with that first 808, and it's going to sound like this together. Again, not complicated at all. It's just the E note, which I already used for the 808 in the first pattern. And basically, it's just a more like jiggy bounce to it. Instead of just hitting once, it hits over and over again. And then at the very end, the second to last note, I raise up an octave just to get some added bounce. So yeah, guys, that is basically the main 808 pattern. From there, you don't actually have to switch it up if you don't want to. But I chose to switch it up just for the verse. Basically, the first thing I did, guys, was I recreated the first pattern, but with a softer 808, and it's going to sound like this. And then I copy and pasted the Z 808 and replaced it with the Meds 808, which again is a sub 808. If I say 808 one more time, dude, I'm going to like lose my mind. But this is what the pattern sounds like. So altogether, this is what the second pattern that we created sounds like. And yeah, guys, that's actually going to do it for the drums. I'm not sure if this tutorial is going to end up on the shorter side or not. My tutorials for the past week or two have been pretty short, and I know you guys like longer videos, but I can't help it. The fact that I'm like accidentally picking simpler beats to make. The overall theme for these beats is to just make what you make good. That sounds like the dumbest statement I've ever said, but basically less is more in these beats. If you have like 2 melody sounds and like a hi-hat and clap that sound good, you're good. You don't need to do anything else. This is no like trippy red rage beats, thank God. No EDM, nothing like that. It's literally just like maybe 4 or 5 sounds max, and you'll be good to go. As for structuring, guys, there's no intro for the beat. It just hops right into the hook. The hook is 16 bars. As you can see, I have the first 16 bars highlighted. It's basically playing all the drums the entire time. And then for the second half, we're going to bring in the open hat and that simple oboe sound just to, keep the beat moving a little bit and make the hook a little bit more entertaining. After that, guys, the next 16 bars is going to be the verse. As you can see, I have it highlighted again. The verse is where the artist typically raps more and, really shines and does their thing. So you want to take more of the beat out so they have room to breathe. So what I did, like I said already, is I replaced the 2 hard-hitting 808s with 2 softer 808s. That way, there's like a big change for the verse. I also took out the open hat once again, and I also took out the oboe. That doesn't come back at all. However, the open hat does come in for the second half. From that point, guys, the beat just repeats itself until it's like an enjoyable length for you. If you want your beats to be shorter, it could be like 2 minutes. If you want your beats to be longer, it could be like 3 minutes plus. But regardless, very simple structuring, just hook, verse, hook, verse. I've been really bad with structuring my videos recently, guys. I've already said this in the comment section before, but I do plan on making a structure specific video, so be on the lookout for that soon. As for mixing, guys, make sure you take the master off. If you want, you can put a soft clipper on, but I personally didn't. Basically, just taking the limiter off is going to make sure that your drums can clip and really hit hard. For this beat, I made the Iayze 808 stereo. Typically, you would not do that with your 808s, but I felt like doing that, so why not? For the Pisticato Strings, guys, I used a lo-fi bit crusher preset and destructor, and as you can see, I used these settings. I also turned it down quite a bit, and I made it stereo again to make it wide and echoey in the beat. And yeah, that is literally it for structuring, guys. Like, every single video I make ends up coming out the same way, where, I spend a lot of time on the patterns, I spend a lot of time on the structuring. When I get to the mixing, I really talk for about a minute at the most, because I don't really mix my beats a whole lot. I say this in every single one of my videos at this point, but for, new beat makers and new watchers and stuff like that, I have to say this. You don't need to mix every single drum in your beat. You don't need to, take high end out of your hi-hat and low end out of your 808. That stuff is very unnecessary. If you're already using pre-mixed sounds, which is 90% of drum kits nowadays, all you have to do is level your beat, which is adjusting the volume, making sure that your 808 isn't taking up the whole beat, making sure that your hi-hats aren't piercing your ears, that kind of stuff. That's all you have to do for your beats, guys. I already said this earlier, and it's such a dumb statement, but if it sounds good, it's good. It really is that simple. Especially if you're a more experienced producer, you'll know what's good and what's bad. So if it sounds correct, it doesn't matter numerically if it's pushing different decibels and whatever. Just forget about that stuff, guys. Just make music, have fun, enjoy the sounds that you make, and that's it, but anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap this video up. If you watch this video all the way through to the end, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys who watch my videos all the way through. If you guys like this video, leave a like. If you didn't, don't. Remember to hit the subscribe button. I post videos 2 times a week on Wednesday and Friday, covering underground and up-and-coming artists, challenge videos, entertainment content, and more. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day or night. Peace.